Hello class, this is Mr. Trevino again. I see that we're having problems with chapter 13. I received some messaging about some of the issues, and we're having problems understanding. So I'm going to go over it real quick. For chapter 13, we're dealing with PLSQL, which is procedural language. For when you do a script, it's a series of SQL statements that you can store in a file, right? Well, PLSQL, procedural language, SQL is actually Oracle's extension to a standard SQL that allows you to write a procedure code, something that actually takes action or has some questions or commands to actually do something like an if statement or loops, that kind of stuff, when you're writing code. An anonymous PLSQL block is actually a block of code that's within that script. So that the block itself has certain instructions, certain commands, and then to execute that PLSQL, you need to code it with a front slash and then finish it with an end so that the program knows where to start and where to end. So again, all of this is in chapter 13. Right off the bat, it's in the front of the chapter on page 415. Regardless, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go through the code real quick. You'll just have to pause and go back and forth between what I'm doing, the video, and the SQL developer. So I'm going to try to go real quick. So the first exercise, it's asking you to write a command in there that if the count is greater than 7, then the block should display a message that says the number of products is greater than or equal to 7. Otherwise, the number of products is less than 7. So let me go to PLSQL. I'm going to open a SQL script page. I have already, as you know, I've already got the code already written to help you, to help facilitate and speed up this particular video. So I'm going to go ahead and put all 5 of the codes in here. Okay, so the number one should look like, of course, you connect to the My Guitar shop connection. You set the server output on so that you can see the display, and then here's the anonymous block. You got to declare statement. You have a beginning where you actually start your commands, and then you have the actual instructions, and right here, this if statement, you have the select, of course, select count, everything count into the product count from products. Okay, so we've done the select statements 100 times. Now here comes the actual logical, the actual procedure. So if the count is equal to, greater than or equal to 7, then you print this. Otherwise, you print the second statement and you end the if. Again, this is a block, and it ends with the end statement. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. I'm going to highlight it, so I'll run this, and I'm going to click that, and you will see that it connects and runs a procedural command, and then the statement that it came up with is that the products is greater than 7. So again, this particular statement will work. Okay, so I am going to clear this output and run number 2. Okay, for number 2, it's asking us to write a script that uses again the block if the product count is greater than or equal to 7, the procedure should display a result that displays the values of both variables. Otherwise, the procedural should display a result that displays to a message that says the number of products is less than 7. So again, another if type question. So I'm going to go to number 2 now. Here is number 2. So again, the declare statement that looks like that, and then this is the procedural block. The beginning, almost the same, except it has an average price list. Into the product count from products, okay? And then here's your particular if statement that actually does the logical portion of this procedural. Okay, so again, if the count is greater than or equal to 7, then it executes these statements. If not, it will execute this statement. So again, I'm going to execute just this portion by highlighting this particular portion and running it. And what I'm going to get is so what happened here is that it executed see if you can tell me why it didn't send us an output. It did execute correctly. It just did not give us an output. I'm going to let you look at that and make a statement to see why. Okay, but if you can get it to run, that is great. Okay, I'm going to go to number 3 right quick because I don't want to make this video too long. Well, first I'm going to clear this out. Okay, for number 3. Well, let's go look at the instructions first. For number 3, it says, write a script that uses an anonymous block of PLSQL code that calculates the common factors between 10 and 20. If a common factor, to find a common factor, you can use the module function mod to check whether a number can be evenly divided into both numbers. Okay, evenly divided into both numbers. Then the procedure should display a string that displays the common factors, and you can see the example there. So I've already got the code embedded in there for number 3, and that's what it looked like for number 3. I'm going to go ahead and execute it, and there you go. It's connected, the procedure successful. Common factors of 10, between 10 and 20 is number 1, number 5, and number 3. If you go in to look at the data, you'll see, if you go in and look at the data, you can actually physically look at that yourself, okay? Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. I'm going to erase this, actually close this, and go to number 4. Number 4 says, write a script that uses an anonymous block PLSQL code that creates a cursor for the results set that's consistent of the product name and list price comments for each product with a list that's greater than $700. Okay, so again, if you read through that, it gives you the specifics of what you should display. Then the procedure should display a string variable that includes product name, the list price for each product, so it should look something like, and there's the example. Okay? And then notice the next statement. For each value is enclosed the double quotes. Each column is separated by a comma, and each row is separated by a pipe character, or a pipe character they call it. So I'm going to show you the code. Again, this is number 4. And it looks like this. Okay, so I am going to execute it, and there's your command. There's your results right here. So this gives you this result with all of the particular outputs that came out from running this procedure. Okay. So again, quickly, I'm going to go to number 5. I'm going to let you look at that closely. Look at each one of them closely after you execute them, after you write them in there. Number 5, write a script that uses an anonymous block for PLSQL code that attempts to insert a new category named guitars into the category table. We've done the insert before, so this shouldn't be this should not really be new, but now you're going to use a procedural language instead of just regular SQL. The procedure should display this message: one row was inserted. Okay, so and if the row can't be inserted, it should display duplicate entry. And we stumbled into this before, and some of you figured it out that we were trying to insert a row into an area that already existed. So again, here is number 5. You have the connect statement. You have the server output on. Okay. Then begin the insert. This is a short one. The procedure starts right there with the begin statement, and here's the end. So as you can see, it's a real short statement. So again, I'm gonna execute this portion and run. And what do we get? We get the row is not inserted. Why? Because there's a duplicate entry. Again, we've run through this before. We've seen it before. If you look at the data, you'll actually figure out that that particular row was already existed. So it selected not to insert it because it already existed using the exception option. Okay, study this particular procedural code, this block. You can see that it's trying to insert into categories, right? And because if row 1 did not exist already, it would go ahead and do it, and you would get this as an output line. But the exception, when there's something wrong with that, the exception kicks in. Had you put row 7, 8, or 9 or something that doesn't exist, it would have existed, and the exception would not have taken place. But because there's an issue, the exception actually kicks in, and then what happens within that exception clause is what executes, and so thus you get this output line, this message that says that. Okay. So again, I just wanted to. I saw that some of you are having issues. Some of you haven't even started on this particular assignment. So I wanted to go over with you how it works. I'll put this video in immediately and message it out. Hopefully you'll get to it in time. If I need to extend this particular due date, I will. Maybe just a day or two. I don't want you to get too far behind. So, okay. So that's it. That's all for now. We'll be communicating later. Email me, please, anytime you have issues, or call me at the office or on my phone, on my text line. So let me know if I can assist you. Thank you.